Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. It's Untethered Live on a Wednesday night, and I'm your host, Jake Johnson. And tonight, it's too hot for a Wednesday show. Come on in. Take your shoes off. Set a spell. Let me know how you're feeling. What's going on in your world on a hump day? Amanda says, hi, Untethered Live family. Good to see you all. Happy hump day. Camel. Nice. And hi, Jake. How are you tonight? Nasally, but good. Can't complain. It's been a hot day, and I've been outside in the sun installing big sign all day. So that's what I've been doing today. I make signs too. I do t-shirts and vinyl signs, big signs sometimes. And this one was right in the sunlight. Post hole digging and carrying on, carpentry and measuring and scraping and taping and screwing, whatever that is. A lot of that today. A lot of it. Debbie says, hello, everyone. And yes, it is too hot, especially for flaming Funyuns. Oh, yeah. I found those on sale at the gas station yesterday. And I picked up two cans for $2 or something like that. 2 cans for $4 maybe. I don't remember what it was. Anyway, they're good. And they're really good with chicken salad sandwiches. Perfect set off of that. You don't want to eat them by themselves because they are hot. But when you're eating a chicken salad sandwich, you got the cool mayonnaise and the hot spice, and it's a perfect marriage. I recommend you try it. That's what we had for dinner tonight. But yes, it is hot. Hot. I've been so hot today that when I got home, I started having muscle spasms all in my chest and down my arms, and my fingers are locking up. Dehydration. It's one of those things. You got to drink lots of water out there. Stay under the shade if you can, and drink lots of fluids. Even if you don't think you're thirsty, drink a little bit with you. Take a little with you. Carry it with you. Don't drink sodas. You can drink coffee, but don't drink sodas in a hot day. I know it's refreshing. And if you have a soda, you need to chase it with a bottle of water. Amanda says, Debbie, you get the gold star for being first in chat. Congratulations. I didn't even pick up on that. Too busy running my mouth. Amanda says, hi, Debbie. And it's okay, Debbie. I question my sanity all the time. Well, it's the funny thing about crazy people. They don't know they're crazy. I worry about people that don't question their sanity. I look for that in a person. Do you question your sanity? Do you think you're going nuts? You're my kind of person. Linda Davis says, hi, all. Hi, Linda. How are you, sweet lady? How's the week treating you? Amanda says, hi, Linda, hun. How is your son? Yes, how is your son? Aaron says something. Go through the door. Put on an Elvis ring. Sit down in a chair and wave your hands. I think that's what that means. What does that mean? Aaron says, I came in to hit like, pull up a chair, and say hi. Nice to see you, Aaron. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Amanda says, Heller, Aaron. I can talk. Linda says, still in the hospital, but I did see him today, and he's bored. That's good. You know, I would much rather see him bored, twiddling his thumbs than, that's good. It's good that he's bored. That means his brain is functioning and his body hadn't given up. Bring him a crossword puzzle or a checkerboard or something. or dart. Go to the Walmart and get him some of those Velcro darts and tell him to throw them at the nurses as they walk by the door. That'll keep him in trouble and not bored. Amanda says, I bet. Continued prayers for him. Amen. As always, we're all rooting for him to speedy recovery. Aaron says, how during Amanda? They have their own language. Sorry, my chat's jumping all over the place. Debbie says, we had chicken salad too tonight with barbecue chips. That's exactly what we had, only with flaming Funyuns. Cool. We're like syncing up our dinners. That's kind of neat. Aaron says, that's no joke, Jake. Right on. No joke. Amanda says, nice, Deb. And Linda says, we had breaded pork chops, baked potatoes, and broccoli from my garden. Nice. That's awesome. It's always great when you can put something on a table that you grew. Makes you feel something inside that you don't feel when you go to the grocery store. I don't know. I think it's some kind of ancient DNA kicking in, you know. Behold, fire, you know. Look what I did. Aaron says barbecue chips. Nice. Salivating. I like barbecue chips too. Kevin Bernard says, hello, Jake and everyone. What's up, Kev? Nice to see you, my friend. How are you? Hope you're doing well today. Amanda says, hi, Kevin. Kevin says, hello, Amanda. And Debbie says, my chicken salad had sliced grapes and walnuts, too. Ew. I know it's probably an acquired taste thing. Probably. I've never heard of putting grapes in chicken. I'm not opposed to trying it, but weird. Although, I will say that a few years ago, I was made privy to this new thing that they had kept it secret in various parts of the world. And it started leaking out, and people in the upper echelons of society got to learn about it. And now they're popping up everywhere. It's called chicken and waffles. And I thought, disgusting. Why would anybody do that to breakfast and chicken? Both are delicious, obviously. But why would you put... Then I had some. Oh, my God. Chicken and waffles is actually delicious. I swear to God. I don't know who came up with that. What kind of crazy, mind-altering drugs they were on when they crashed those two things together. But I'm so glad they did, because that's a delicious flavor combination. So I'm not opposed to trying anything. But you lost me on the walnuts. I don't like walnuts at all. I don't like any kind of nuts. Except my nuts. Aaron says, I've been outside all day too. Cool. Kevin says, hello, Aaron. And Kevin says, hello, Linda. Linda says, hi, Kevin and Aaron. Aaron says, Sir Kevin, good to see you. Nice. Kevin says, hello, Debbie. And Amanda says, LOL, Aaron. Jake in your language, too funny. Jake in our language is too funny. John H., what's up, buddy? I've been missing you the past couple of days. How you doing? He says, hello, everyone, and prayers for everyone. Thank you, John. Prayers for you, too. How are things going with you, buddy? Amanda says, hi, Nugget. And Amanda says, our chicken salad had onions and pickle relish. That's what you put in chicken salad, pickle relish. I guess. I don't know that I have ever done that, but it was good. So, Linda says, hi, Nugget, smiley face and wavy hands. Aaron says, yes, but Jake is picking up. Oh, I pick up quick. Don't make no mistake about that. I play dumb sometimes. I'm not. John says, I had chicken nuggets today to celebrate. I went to see the specialist yesterday, and he said that my cancer is not growing. Congratulations, John. That's fantastic news. All right. I told you, with God, all things are possible. Cancer don't stand a chance if the Lord is willing. Amanda says, I'm trying to talk him into watching one of them, I guess, Medea movies. Yeah. It's not my thing. Aaron says, it's so cool. Jake inspired me to put a whooping on the robot. Yeah, I read that. Congratulations. That was a good battle. I love it when people go to thinking. It's always the goal here. And now that you know that internally, you know there's nothing to fear. You can outsmart the thing because it's only capable of doing what the programmer programmed it to do. It is not capable of thinking outside of the box. Kevin says, hello, John. And Linda says, that is excellent news, John. Congratulations. Smiley face. And Amanda says, that was great, Aaron. I'm going to try next. You going to get everybody gang up on the AI? Aaron says, it was a test for the droid that I sent you that was in the street. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I saw that thing. Creepy. No face. I don't like things that don't have faces. Amanda says, that's cool. Aaron says, I beat you. I bet you can win. Oh, yeah. I've already done that. There's a video somewhere around here where I posted an argument that I had with ChatGPT when it first started going. And I made it not only admit that I was right, but admit that there was a such thing as a God. Imagine an AI robot admitting that there's a God. It didn't just say there was a God. I cornered it. It had to admit that it was true. I don't know what episode it is, but it's back there somewhere, and it's in the title. You can check it out. Something with ChatGPT. Amanda says, congratulations, Nugget. You keep it up, man. You keep up fighting. Don't you let that thing whip you. You are stronger. You are capable. Amanda says, I'm sure. Just got to figure out the topic. Let the conversation lead you. Start off with a normal conversation until it says something that you disagree with, and then whoop its butt. This cough needs to go away, says Aaron. I hear you, buddy. I've been hacking up my lungs for the past month now. You need to do something about that. Quit smoking them cigarettes. Amanda says, that sucks, Aaron. And it being so hot makes it worse. Yeah, it makes it where you can't breathe. John says, thank you, wonderful people. Hearts all over the place. Well, John, we're rooting for you. We're in your corner. Absolutely. You know that. You're one of ours. We're not going to let you go out without a fight. Aaron says, yep, but I'll be all right. Never mind the mule. Just load the wagon, Aaron. Keep that in your head. Life's too short to worry about whys and what fors. You just move forward. That's all you can do. Don't worry about nothing else. Don't let them give you no shit about your ponytail. Fight, fight, fight. That's all there is to it. And that's what I do. It's served me well so far. Just keep moving. If something comes along I got to do, I just do it. Or put it off till tomorrow. Why do today what I can put off till tomorrow? That's not such a good philosophy. Don't do that. It has been a hot one the past couple of days, though. Like upper 90s. Got to be close to 100 degrees outside. Maybe more. I don't know. Sue Woods. Hello, everyone. Hello, Sue. Welcome back. How did your national anthem thingy go? We've been thinking about you. Kevin says, hello, Sue. And Sue says, it's 1:15 here. Cool. It's only 8:47 here. Amanda says, ugh, I'm going to take a hammer to this laptop. It kicked me off YouTube and won't let me back on. Keeps crashing. Yep, you need to get a job and get you a new laptop. Or make your old man buy you one. Next time YouTube pays me out, I'll see if I can't get you one. Amanda says, hi, Sue. Or get you started on one anyway. Sue says, I had to cancel singing because I got sick. Oh, no. That's terrible news. I'm sorry to hear that. I was looking forward to finding out all about it. Aaron says, I was saying Amanda could beat one, and I know you listed the episode. Right on. Yeah, Amanda could beat it. I thought you were talking to me, though. I got you. I see what you're saying. Amanda says, that's what I have, an old man for sure. And Amanda says, that sucks, Sue. Yeah, it does suck. I'm sorry to hear that you got sick. I was hoping you'd go out there and kill it. Aaron says, oh no, Sue. And I got to see your face. I've seen your face too. Nice dress, by the way. And Sue says, I'm still sick. Well, drink you some hot chocolate or get you some chicken noodle soup or something and get rid of that sickness. And Amanda says, prayer, Sue. Rich S, what's up, brother? He says, what the heck is up, my friends? Me, I'm up. Sort of. About half in and half out. Been a long day, but I'm here. Aaron says, what did you think? Sue says, hi. Oh, sorry. Hi, Aaron, what did you think? Sorry, I read that wrong. Aaron says, oh, dang, 1:15, almost as hot as people here. Oh, it's 1:15 degrees. I thought you were saying it's 1:15 in the morning. I don't know how time zones work. I'm just all kind of confused today. You guys need to interpolate for me. Amanda says, hi, Rich. And Kevin says, hello, Rich. And Sue says, I made that dress. I know you did. It's beautiful. And Linda says, hi, Rich. Amanda says, nice, Sue. Aaron says, I think you look like a hand-painted work of art, Sue. That's beautiful. Hand-painted work of art. That's a good description, actually. That is kind of what that picture looks like. Debbie says, Amanda, you could always start an OnlyFans for new laptop. Right? Well, believe me when I tell you the thought has crossed my mind. Not for her, for me. I live in a college town and I own a camera, you know what I'm saying? But it just ain't the right thing to do. Sue says, Aaron, thank you. Aaron says, that's so cool, the dress. Amanda says, well, yeah, right, Debbie. Although Jake thinks I have cute feet, so I could probably do a foot thing. Sue says, I went to an adult prom in that and won best dressed. Right on. Now, when you say adult prom, you mean people over the age of 21, not adult prom, right? I mean, it's cool if you mean the other thing. I'm just trying to clarify for a friend. Aaron says, you're welcome, Sue. And Amanda says, cool, Sue. John says, Jake, I've got a question. Well, that's fantastic. I got a whole bag full of answers over here just waiting for somebody to ask a question. Shoot. Or anyone, have you heard of music Enigma from the 80s? It's a pagan or devil. Is it pagan or devil music? Enigma? It seems like I have heard of that. And all music is pagan or devil music. I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but the devil is the originator of music. It started way back in the heaven part of the world. He was the head of the choir in heaven before he did his thing and became Satan. And then it started with Jubilee. Maybe I got that wrong. Hold on, let me think for a minute. Yeah, that's right. Jubilee. Musician. So, yeah. But I wouldn't worry about it. If you're into it, listen to it. What matters is what you do with it. Music is subjective, obviously. It's how you feel about it, what you do with it. Don't go down any rabbit holes. Don't follow any satanic figures. And just enjoy music for what it is. But if you hear lyrics that go against your father, turn it off. Stay away from it. If it vexes your spirit, get away from it. It's that simple. And if it don't, cool. I don't know if you know this or not, but I'm a pastor. I do that on the weekends. And a weekend warrior type. But I play blues. I play about suffering and sorrow. That's what I do. So, everybody ain't made for gospel. I kind of think that David was a guitar picker, so and God called him a man after his own heart. So there you go. You think God likes a little picking? I do. That's my thoughts on it, John. I hope that helps. Aaron says, I can see why, Sue. And Sue says, prom was for 18 only. Got it. Aaron says, I have, John. Aaron's heard of them. Enigma. It seems like I have heard of that band or that group. But I can't call it to mind. It's probably some techno stuff or industrial type music. I can see why you would think that would be satanic, but it's just heavy music. Sue says, thank you, Aaron. And Amanda says, yes, Nugget, there is a lot of devil's music. Most music is devilish. Yes. Aaron says, hugs. And Rich S says, Debbie, you know what OnlyFans is, right? It ain't for Christians. At least most of us, haha. Yeah, we know what OnlyFans is. It was a joke. Sue says, I like Satan. You like Satan, really? Oh, Satan. Got it. I don't know what that is. Sue says, it's a food. Oh, okay. Like bread, says Aaron. Right on. Yeah, that's not the Satan I'm talking about. Aaron says, like bread. And Debbie says, rich, I know, but, LOL. Amanda says, I like pasta. I know you do. Rich says, I like fish. Fish? What's a fish doing down there? John says, it's calming, just like Enya. Hey, if it calms you down, that's what music's supposed to do, make you feel things. I see nothing wrong with that. I'm not one of those people that have a holier-than-thou personality. I'm too Christian for you. I can't hang out with you. You're sinners over there. Christ hung out with sinners. If it's good enough for him, it's good enough for me. And if you like the music, listen ahead on, buddy. Enjoy. And Sue says, oh, yeah, I like Enya. And Debbie says, I like Kevin, LOL. And Richie says, I like Nunya. Nunya business. Somebody's feeling saucy today. Sue says, loaves and fishes. That's right. Loaves and fishes. And Amanda says, hey, if you guys want to check out the new Facebook page, here's the link right here in the chat. Go check it out. Put your picture up if you want to. Hang out with everybody. It's a good place to hang out. And you can post there, so it's good. We've made an upgrade. It's a new site, though. So it's called UntetheredLive Chillin', if you want to type it in. Facebook.com/UntetheredLive Chillin'. Go check it out. And also, like, subscribe, share, support, join. Super chats are available in the chat box if you want to show a little bit of love. But if you want to put a little change in my pocket to help me keep the lights on, you can do that by going over to CashApp, $JakeJohnsonband. I appreciate you very much. Debbie says, I posted there today. Cool. I've seen some of the posts. My phone's been blowing up all day with different things that Amy and Debbie and different people were posting. I didn't get a chance to look at all of it because I was at work, but I glanced at some of it. Aaron says, do a little dance. Use a little glove. No kids tonight. No kids tonight. That's freaky. Why would you use a little glove? Are you going to wrap it up in a towel and call it Fifi? I know. Gross, right? Linda Davis says, heck, I just like good food. I don't really have a favorite. I do. Pork chops. I like pork chops. But it changes. Sometimes it's chicken. Sometimes it's pork chops. Sometimes it's pizza, baby. Pizza. Sue says, chilling like a villain. Gelling like Magellan. Rich S says, speaking of loaves and fishes, in my humble opinion, that is probably the most beautiful and prolific story in the Bible. Prolific? Yeah. I love it so much, but anyway, it's a good story for sure. I wouldn't call it the most prolific. It's definitely enigmatic, definitely unique. But well, not that unique. They did it twice, so. Amanda says, LOL, yep, Linda. I like seeing people enjoy my cooking. I like enjoying your cooking, especially because I don't have to cook, and that's the most enjoyable part. I come home from work, there's dinner, and I can go to bed. I like it. Debbie says, Aaron, I'm sorry you have to use a little glove. I don't know about you, but I use a big old glove right over here. No, I'm just kidding. Aaron says, when you eat pasta and say, are you the pasta? Pasta? I guess. That's funny. Amanda says, LOL, Aaron. Aaron says, nah, Deb. That's for the other guy. Now, this conversation is going in a direction I did not anticipate. So, I'm backing out. Amanda says, yummy, pizza sounds delicious. I hadn't had pizza in a while. It's about that time, I guess. Aaron says, whole lot of advertisement. No, LOL and advertisement. And advertisement. For what? The other guy with the little glove? Debbie says, Aaron, you wear gloves with other guys? Exactly. I'm backing out. I don't want no part of this conversation. Amanda says, it takes both hands, LOL, Jake. Well, for you it does. Aaron says, Debbie, I'm like OJ, the glove don't fit. If the glove don't fit, you must have quit. Amanda says, LOL, Aaron. And Aaron says, smiley face. And Debbie says, and then we must have quit. Right. You got it. Aaron says, LOL, Debbie. And Aaron says, that's her job. Aaron says, I'll appeal for a second round. Right on. Listen, all's fair in love and war. However you want to get your freak on, that's cool with me. Just don't get any of it on me. That's all I ask. And do whatever you want to do. Just don't get any of it on me. Or maybe. It depends. Depends on the situation. I'm flexible. Trisexual. I'll try anything once. If I like it, I'll do it again. If I really like it, I'll put it in a bottle and sell that stuff on eBay. Amanda says, it's not fair when it gets in your eyes. That's fair. You don't want to put your eyes in that position. Too late to worry about it now. Sue says, are you scared? I'm not scared of nothing. Not a thing. Not even a little bit. I'll stand up against the biggest fella. I ain't worried about it. If you're scared, say you're scared. Debbie says, Jake, you have to stand back if you don't want any on you. Right on. That's right. You got to back up. John says, shut your eyes then. Right? Yeah. That's a rough situation. Aaron says, safety glasses, Amanda. Right. Now you're thinking. That's thinking outside the box right there. Safety glasses. OSHA would be proud. Amanda says, LOL, Nugget, and LOL, Aaron. You got to be careful, though. Sometimes when you do those kind of things, you kind of have to pee afterwards. It's actually dangerous for a guy, though. You got to be really careful. In my case, anyway, because sometimes you go in there and things haven't quite calmed down. It's still, standing at attention. So you got to kind of push it down to aim for the bowl, right? But if you push too hard, your feet will slip out from under you. Amanda says, it's not nice when it comes out your nose either. It depends on who you are. From this side, it's pretty funny. John says, motorcycle helmet. There you go. What are we talking about? This conversation went off the rails. Amanda says, LOL, Nugget. No, I like my hair pulled. Rolling on the floor, Jake. Thank you, Amanda. Debbie says, goodness, Amanda. Your nose. Jeez. And Jake falls off his kickstand. Come on now. You girls are going to make me blush if that were possible. I'm able to. I just don't do it. Amanda says, LOL, Debbie. Well, then it's good. Well, when it's good, it's good. And Aaron says, LOL, hint of Jake on eBay. Yeah, you won't find nothing. I got kicked off of eBay. I had an unfortunate run-in with them. I have a guitar that I was trying to sell a while back, and I sold it. And the guy kept asking me all kinds of questions and kept asking me for pictures, and I knew it was going to be a problem before I ever sent the thing. And it was a very valuable guitar, so I gave him all kinds of information, and every picture he asked for, I sent him, and I answered every thousands of questions, and finally I shipped it to him, and the money is held in probate until he gets the object, right? Well, at this particular time, I was very, very broke, and I needed that money, and I'd already waited a week and a half, 2 weeks for it, and I had to wait for that to ship to him to get his approval so that they would release the money. He got the thing in Florida, and then turned around and sent it right back to me. Said it wasn't what he ordered. Exactly what you ordered. I told you what it was. I had a description and everything. So I never got the money. And then they charged me $200 for the sale. I'm like, no. That's not how that works. I didn't get any money. I sent and then had to pay for the shipping out of my pocket, which was like almost $100. It was $100, like $99 for shipping. And then I ate that. And now you're going to charge me $200 for a sale where I didn't get this. I still have the item. He sent it back. I'm not paying it. I'm not going to do it. So that's not a sale. That's a failed sale. You need to take it up with him. He's the one that bought something and then had buyer's remorse and sent it back. I told him what he was getting. He knew what he was getting. It was a vintage guitar, a really vintage guitar. It ain't a player. It's a vintage guitar, right? And it's in the description. He didn't like it, so he sent it back. I got it to this day, and I'll keep it. But that was some bullshit, so they canceled my account. And I've been with them for like 15, 20, almost 20 years. Long as they've been out, I've had an account. And they canceled it. But I'm sorry, I'm not going to pay for something I didn't get. Aaron says, Amanda, you wrong for that. Amanda says, LOL, Aaron. Oh, no, I'm not. Sue says, too much information, too much information. Debbie says, is that what they mean by mother load, Amanda? Not in that direction, no. Has going the other way for that. Amanda says, LOL, Debbie, probably so. No, definitely not. That'll never cause motherhood. And Debbie's, I know what she said, and it will never cause that. So I'm sorry. It would be the mother load if it came from the other direction, because that load would cause mother. Did I not read that right? Debbie says, hint for Amanda, swaller. Kevin says, Jake, at least you got it back. I did get it back in one piece. But it was a pretty crappy thing to do. The guy knew what he was getting, and I felt like I was honest with him. I mean, I told him what it was. He understood what it was. I don't know how else to make that sale, right? So, I did get it back, though. Aaron says, LOL, Sue, say too much information, and she is the one with the handmade dress at the adult prom. Right. Amanda says, LOL. Hint, Debbie, I did. Let's see how to put this. It was more than I expected. John says, why couldn't the couch get pregnant? Because it was a pullout. All right, now. Settle down, ladies and gentlemen. Amanda says, LOL, Nugget, right? Aaron says, then the sleeper couch got fired, right? Rich says, how many Mormons does it take to change a light bulb? 5. 1 man to change the bulb and 4 wives to tell him how to do it. Aaron says, the love seat got like 12 kids. That's what all them little random chairs all over the place are. The little corner seats and such. You guys are just in rare form tonight. And make me have to read it. I hear you. I'm all right with that. Just, keep it PG-13. Can't get too gross. If you get too gross, then I'm a hypocrite when I kick people out of here for saying things they shouldn't say. So let's not do that, shall we? And for God's sakes, stay off the love seats. And Amanda says, oh, you just is dirty, Jake. I am, but, this is a family-friendly show. Not. I'm trying to be a family-friendly show. I got to do an extra show this week, by the way. It's probably going to be Thursday, and it's probably going to be fast. But just so you guys know, I will be here an extra day this week for the next 4 weeks. Trying to boost up the YouTube rating a little. Get in league with the algorithm. Amanda says, well, we are all family here. Well, that's true, and that's a good thing. But there are some newcomers that may not know how to take you guys. So, just ease them into it. That's all I'm saying. Amanda says, so it qualifies. Keeping it in the family. You're right. Sue says, what is in the water? Oxygen, hydrogen. No, oxygen, hydrogen. That's pretty much it. Minerals. My water's red, so I don't know why. Kevin says minerals, right? Amanda says it's the heat, and we're all fried. I agree with that. Hot makes people crazy. There's a thing in Louisiana called the Big Easy, and they are known for hot nights and Halloween and full moons. And they will tell you, the cops will tell you that things get crazy on the hottest nights of the year because the heat makes people do crazy things. It really does. Makes you say things, makes you feel things, makes you want to do things, because when it cools off at night, it's a big relief after being hot all day. And in the South, it stays hot at night. So Aaron says it depends on the location, right? Debbie says, okay, Jake, we will ease them into it. Nice and slow. No fingernails. Come on now. Angela Ashton says, hello, all. Heart. Hello, Angela. Nice to see you. Amanda says, LOL, Debbie. And Kevin says, hey, Angela. And Linda says, hi, Angela. And Amanda says, hi, Angela. And Jake says, hi, Angela. And the cow says, moo, moo. Dude. You guys having a good time so far? I'm having a pretty good time on a Wednesday night. Aaron says, the heat fried my inner filter. Right on. I don't have a filter, so you're lucky you get what you get. Angela says, yay. We are all into high. We're all into high. High. Rich S says, when's the last time you all have gone outside naked during a summer downpour on purpose just for the fun of it? Yesterday. I have no such inhibitions, Rich, and I live in the country, so if I want to go outside naked, I just will. Not in the rain, though. I don't like to get wet. May come as a shock to some of you, but I don't like to take a bath. I'm old school. I grew up in the deep South where once a week, whether I needed it or not, I took a bath in cold water in a wash tub outside. So I'm used to bathing with a washcloth. That's what I do. But I don't like getting wet. It makes my muscles tense up, and I got problems with that. So I try not to get wet. I'm like a gremlin. You get me wet, and I'll just start popping off all over the place. Amanda says, I wasn't born with a filter. Right on. Debbie says, what's a filter? It's that little thing in your brain that catches the things that are coming out of your mouth before they jump out of your mouth. Not me. My tongue tries to grab things that come out of my mouth by its hind toes, and it just straight on out. If it comes in my brain, it comes out of my mouth. There's nothing I can do about it. So when you catch me being measured and restraining myself, you should consider that an incredibly rare sight, for one, and for two, utmost respect for you, because I don't do that typically. Rich says, I'm not saying I have ever done that. I was just wondering. Right on. Well, if you're young, that's a young person's game. It might be fun to go frolicking in the rain in the middle of a hot summer night, because hot and rain go well together. And I could see that being a thing. But for me, it just seems like a nightmare to get out and get wet. And then I'd just be in pain all night, and I wouldn't enjoy that at all. So Angela says, everyone said hi except one hey. Just being silly. Right on. Well, you know, Angela, everyone likes to let everybody know how much they enjoy your company and each other's, and that's beautiful. It's a little monotonous to read through from time to time, and I've often tried to implement a symbol so I didn't have to read through it, so everybody just got that's what they were saying, like a plus sign. It didn't stick, but I tried. If we could get an emoji that meant hi and everybody understood that, I wouldn't have to read it. But it's a beautiful sentiment that everybody's so happy to see each other in this chat, this forum where all these strangers have come together as one 5 nights a week. It's really quite beautiful, and I'm really quite lucky to be part of it, and I thank you for that. Sue says, hold on. The heat makes me want to do things bad for my health, like go for a walk in it. I hate being cooped up. Well, going for a walk in heat is not bad for your health, unless you're agoraphobic, and then it's bad for your brain, but it won't hurt your body. However, I would recommend you find a way to stroll, because being cooped up is bad for you. Not only will it institutionalize you and make you clinically retarded for being locked up and not seeing the world, it'll make your brain really small. That's what's wrong with all these liberals out there today. They don't live. They just scroll on TikTok and that's it. And when you don't touch grass and smell air and see things, you tend to get stunted. So I highly recommend you go out on the town as often as possible, but don't get out there and get a heat stroke. Aaron says, LOL, Debbie, no filter. No filter. Amanda says, LOL, you made it sound like you don't bathe. You absolutely bathe, silly. I said I bathe with a washcloth. I do bathe. I just don't like to get wet. I do bathe. Old people know what I'm talking about. I don't have to have a bath 3 times a day to feel clean, but, you know, I don't like to get wet. Sue says, it's Wednesday. I need to take my garbage to the curb for tomorrow. Right on. Don't forget to take your garbage out, folks. It's Wednesday. And Aaron says, I do the same, Sue. If it's always hot, so I just go. Right on. In Florida, it's always hot, so I just go. Yep, it's always hot in Florida. And I have a bona fide, genuine Floridian up here with me, and she has learned that North Carolina heat is different than Florida heat. Kevin says, I got a filter on my cigarettes. Me too. I make mine, though. Do you make yours? Aaron says, hey, Angela. There's your hey, Angela. High and hay. Everybody got high except for the one that got high on hay. Hey, hey, hey. Amanda says, I like to do things in the rain. It's romantic. It is not romantic. It's wet. And soggy. And sticky. And wet. Rich says, right, Amanda? And Sue says, my parrot doesn't like to take a bath either. Right? Jake, you want a cracker? I must be a descendant from a bird then, because I don't like it either. I don't go molting if I get wet, though, but I don't like it. I do stand like this for an hour if I get wet, but I don't know. And by wet, I mean streams of water. Obviously, a washcloth is wet. That's different. It's not the same thing as like stepping into a hot shower and then out into cold air. That's not good for me. So I bathe in a wash tub because that's how I was raised. Because I'm old school. A little Mennonite-ish. A little bit. We were not Mennonites, but we kind of lived like them. All the women in my family had the bun and the long hair down to the floor and wore blue jean skirts down to their ankles. That kind of thing. I don't know why, but that was the thing. Maybe they just couldn't afford good clothes and didn't like getting haircuts, but it seemed like they were part of a thing. Angela says, guess what? What? I'm riveted. I'm on the edge of my seat. What? I'm finally going to get paid to take care of Mike. Excellent. $65 a day. My disability will lower by under $500, and I'll be making almost 1.5 times more a month. That's fantastic, Angela. I can't tell you how proud I am of you for making that happen. Because, you know, you got to work hard and take care of Mike and do what you got to do. And because if you don't, you'll end up letting the world take care of you. So that I recommend that you do that. Aaron says, I've never been naked outside in the rain. Well, I recommend you do that and probably run because you'll be naked outside. Amy Elizabeth says, live long and prosper. Peace and long life. Amy Elizabeth, how are you? Yes, I do know the proper way to compliment that salute. Aaron says, rain. Right, rain. Till your daddy takes D-Bird away. I got it. Rich S says, do you like pina coladas? Do you like pinas coladas? No. I'm getting cold in the rain. And I used to play that song years ago, back when people knew what a Bellamy brother was. Or whoever it was that did that song, I can't remember now. Amanda says, there is a wavy hand. Waving hands. Wavy hand. Congratulations. Debbie says, Jake has a manly man smell. Not a bad thing, Amanda. It is not. And by the way, and I know this is going to rub a lot of you the wrong way, but it's true. I have backup. I don't stink. My feet don't stink. My armpits don't stink. My shit does not stink. Unless I eat something bad and my stomach is tore up, then yes, obviously. But the average every day, no stink. It smells like shit, but it don't stink. Weird, I know. I'm a very sweet man. I have a good smell. Good odor. When you smell my sweat, you're like, sweat. Not, God, what did you die from? It's not like that. My shoes don't stink. I have 4 pairs of them under my bed right now, and I work like a man. No stink. Why is that? I don't know. I guess I have a lot of Native American blood or something. I don't know what that is. But I don't have a lot of odor. Linda says, we used to use a big horse trough when Walter and I lived on the farm. Oh, yeah. I've done that before. We had for special occasions. Now, this was later in life. It only happened a couple times. But we had an old claw handle tub. Remember those cast iron tubs coated with enamel with the claw feet outside, like on the edge of the yard. And they would heat water up on the stove and fill it up. And then Mom and Dad would go out and take a bath. And we weren't allowed to go outside. Obviously, they were naked out there. But then when they came in, we could go play in the water and take our baths. We didn't think nothing of it at the time, but apparently, yuck. Kevin says, Angela, congratulations. Yes, absolutely, congratulations. I was just teasing you earlier. That's fantastic news. It's always good when people get a leg up and can do a little better in life. That's fantastic. Aaron says, ouch, Amy. Is her wit her fine self? Oh, Amy is her wit her fine self. That must be young people talk. I don't know what you mean. Amanda says, no, Rich, he don't like coconuts. Amy is here with her fine self. Here, got it. Understood. I have to have an interpreter because I don't understand young lingo. I don't like coconuts, and I don't like getting caught in the rain, and I don't like pina coladas. But I did like whoever sang that song, and I think it was the Bellamy Brothers, but I could be wrong. Amy says, nice kitty in a coffee can video, Jake. Thank you. Thank you very much. I saw that this morning and had to get a video of it. I didn't get a close enough video because I didn't want to scare her away. She was rolling around in it. I didn't catch that, but I caught her coming out of it. But this morning, I looked out the window and she was rolling and there was another cat chasing her and trying to get her, and she would reach out around the coffee can and swat the cat and then roll away. It's kind of funny. I wish I'd have caught the whole thing, but I got what I could. And I need to cut my grass, I know. I've been lazy. Amanda says, LOL, that's funny, Debbie. He don't smell, though. He does have body odor. It's crazy. He does not have body odor. It's crazy. I don't. It's weird. I could sweat all day long. I could be pouring. I could be wet from sweat. Come in, take my shirt off, and sit in front of the fan for a minute and cool off. And it's like I wasn't sweating at all. I know. It bothers me too, but that's the way it is. Angela says, in total, I've been happy and silly all day. That's great. I won't have to tomorrow. I won't have to borrow money from my son every week. I feel so blessed. Angela, you are blessed. And I told you that if you follow God's word, you will be blessed. And that's what you've been doing, as far as I can tell. And that's par for the course. You will be blessed. It's nature. If you do good things come to you. And I'm proud of you for being blessed. Amy says, hey, everybody. Hey, Amy, how are you? Angela says, hi, Amy Hart. And Rich says, monkey bath? Kinda. A bath in a sink. Yeah. You ever washed your hands? It's like that, but for everything. Kevin says, hello, Amy. And Amanda says, hi, Amy. And Aaron says, monkey bath? Oof. Sue says, it does hurt my body because I'm because I'm hypokalemia. I don't know what that is. Hypokalemic. I don't know what that means. Amanda, look it up for me in just a second. John says, I got a jet wash shower. Nice. We got one of those shower heads that shoots and does all kinds of things and lights up and has propellers and, a chainsaw attachment, and pretty cool. Amanda says, North Carolina heat freaking sucks. I want the wet heat over this dry shit any day. It'll take your breath away for sure. Aaron says, what's that? Hypokalemia. I don't know what that means either. And I've studied medicine, but I don't know that word. Amy says, message retracted. Did you ban yourself? Did you ban hammer your own self? Angela says, thank you, Kevin. Amy says, awesome news, Angel. Yes, it is. Aaron says, Amy, you okay? Question mark. Amy says, Mendolite and electrician. Mendolite. Mennonite. Not an electrician, no. Mennonite. That's where you go out and solicit men in the evening. If you do more than one, it's Mennonite, not Mennonite. Rich says, it's so hot lately, Jehovah's Witnesses started telemarketing. I like to, when they start coming around in the neighborhood and I get wind of it, I'll go outside and draw a little chalk outline of a human body on my front porch and then throw some religious pamphlets around it. They never bother me for some reason. I don't know why. Angela says, Amy, I could have never made it without my son. He gives me at least $400 a month, so the bills are paid, and we just don't make enough on disability. It has taken over a year, but that's fantastic that it's here now, and you can relax and enjoy your life a little, and I'm glad for you for that. Enjoy your life and do your job. Sue says, Jake, you are a bird brain. Really? I thought I was a massively swollen brain, like an elephant brain, but bird brain, I'll take it. I'll take it. At least I'm losing weight somewhere. Aaron says, LOL, Rich. I see them with dress shirts and pants on, and on those bikes it's like 100 degrees outside, right? Are those Jehovah's Witnesses or Mormons? I guess they both do the same kind of thing, right? Hang on, my chat jumped. All right. Angela says, at least once be naked outside in the rain. Also, dance in the rain and jump in puddles. Done that. Yeah, you should definitely go out and enjoy nature, especially if you live in a place where you can do it outside in nature, in your nature. Amy says, Aaron, I picked up a side job. I have two. Hopefully my body won't give in. I'm exhausted as it is, but I got to do something. Right on. That's good that you picked up a side job. You just keep hanging in there, Amy. Think good things are coming to you, too. Amanda says, I like being naked in the rain. Angela says, thank you, Amy. Soon I can be able to help you. I'd rather help you than buy on Temu. Right on. Ooh, help you. Patty's here. She says, what's going on with all the talking heads today? Just talking, you know how it goes. Being heady and talking. How are you, Patty? Nice to see you. Amy says, my neighbors wouldn't like to see me naked. Me either. Sue says, did you know you'll get less wet if you walk in the rain rather than run in the rain? I know that sounds logical, but I've found that if you get in the rain, you're going to get wet regardless of what you do. You can go as fast as you want or as slow as you want. You're still going to get wet. But it sounds logical. Like if you move fast enough, you can go in between the raindrops maybe, but no, there's a lot of raindrops. I guess it depends on how long you're in the rain. You'd get less wet if you walked, if you were only in it for a second. But if you were out there, like if you just had to be out in the rain, you're just getting soaked. Amanda says, and it doesn't, not does, correction. Okay. What doesn't? What are you correcting? Long time ago. Okay. Well, you can't do that. You got to add context. Context is king. Aaron says, I'll message you, Amy. We will talk and get you right. Aaron is a hero. Coming in the edge of the night. Gotta be strong and you gotta be tight and you gotta be faster than light. Aaron's a hero. Sorry. Amanda says, LOL. Well, give them a show, Amy. The neighbors, give them a show. Woohoo. That's one show that anybody would watch, but very few people would pay to see. Amy says, Sue, my sister was so skinny as a kid, she had to run around the shower to get wet. Right on. Sue says, my shit smells like roses. Right on. I think mine does too. Maybe not roses, but definitely not. It's a pleasant smell, like cow shit in Florida. There's something about the cow shit in Florida smells like home. It doesn't stink. It smells like shit, but it don't stink. You know what I'm saying? I know shit jokes are funny, and it's funny to joke about shit, but in earnest, you've experienced this before, especially if you live in Florida. It's a smell. You're used to it, I guess. That kind of thing. We're still talking about my shit. Angela says, in the rain, not I'm in the rain. In the rain, not I'm the rain. Got it. But I actually have a book I loved called You Are the Rain by R.R. Crutzen. Nice. You Are the Rain. Walter Davis says, good evening, everybody. Hey, Walter, what's up, buddy? Nice to see you. I hope you're doing well, sir. Amanda says, Walter, wave your hand. Kevin says, hello, Walter. Angela says, hi, Walter. Kevin says, I'm going to go grab a bite to eat. BRB. What are you going to have to eat? Enjoy your dinner. We'll be here. Amanda says, Amy, the cat in the can was ice cream. Yep. And which cat were you asking me to name Canner? Oh, the cat in the can? I guess that makes sense. I was thinking Canner like Tanner. But no, you meant because he's in a can. I got it. That just came to me just now. Angela says Rupert Holmes. Right on. I can't think of one. I used to work for these companies most of my childhood, and I can't think of a single one of them now. It's too late. The joke passed. Moving on. Linda says, hi, Walter. Amy says his new name is Kenner. You have to talk to Aaron about that. He already named him ice cream. Named her ice cream. Aaron says, oh, yeah, not to self-steal the white cat. Amanda says, LOL, right, Amy? And Aaron says, I'm still going to call it a white cat. That's what I call him, Cat. Everybody says, what's his name? Cat. Come here, Cat. Here, kitty cat. All of them? All of them. There's too many to name. And they all look alike. So after a while, it's just redundant. Amanda says, hell no, Aaron. I get growled at every time I pick it up. It's funny to hear that little growl. She's got the heart of a lion for sure, but she's that tall. Debbie says Rupert Holmes for the Pina Colada song. Okay, got it. That makes sense. For some reason, I was thinking Bellamy Brothers. I guess they got a similar sound, but Thank you, Angela. Yeah. Or Debbie, or whoever said it. Amanda says, like she's a badass gonna do something. They have that defense mechanism. They growl and it's funny because when they were first born, I'd go out there and pick them up so they'd get used to me touching them. Every time I'd get near her, she'd start. It's so funny. Sounds so vicious, and then just sit there when you pet them. Just quiet right down. Walter says, hi, Jake, Amanda, Angela, Kevin, Amy, Aaron, Sue, Patty, Rich, John, Debbie, and Linda. Angela says, it took me over a year to get approved for this. Well, I'm grateful that you did. God bless you, and praise God that he allowed you to have it. I need to get me a second job too, Amy. Third job, fourth job, something like that. I don't know if I got time. I'm sweating doing an extra show this week. Amanda says, here's the link to the new Facebook page if you guys want to check it out. That's facebook.com/UntetheredLive chillin'. Go check it out. All one word, UntetheredLive chillin'. And you can post whatever you want there and share with everybody and get to know everybody and hang out with everybody and be cool with everybody. Aaron says, sorry for the typos, Jake. I'm on a phone with big hands and tired eyes. I hear you, brother. I hear you. Don't you worry about that. I speak typoese. Amy says, bath in the sink is known as a Kentucky bath around here. We call it a horse bath, but same thing. Amy says, hi, Walter Davis. Or window dressing. I'm thinking Walter Davis. Aaron says, Amanda, he's letting you know I'm coming to get him. You come on. I got a place you can park that RV right over there. Angela says, oh, crap. No one who sang Pina Colada song showed my age, huh? No. No, that just shows your intellect. Amanda says, hypokalemia is a blood level that is below normal in potassium, an important body chemical. The problem can result in fatigue, muscle cramps, and abnormal heart rhythms from the Mayo Clinic. I wonder if that's what I have. I definitely have muscle spasms and fatigue. Like my fingers will lock up like that. When I try to reach for something, my fingers will lock up and I start having these weird muscle spasms, like my chest muscle will tighten up or my arm will tighten up or something like that. I thought it was just dehydration, but I wonder. And the fatigue thing I thought was just because I'm pushing 50 and I'm a workaholic. And I've had abnormal heart rhythms my whole life, and that's called tachycardia. That's from stress. Debbie says, in my neck of the woods, that's called a horse bath. That's what I call it, horse bath. Right on. John says, hi, Walter, thumbs up. Amy says, bananas are high in potassium. They are. So is potassium. It's me, he says, yep, it's all bullshit. Hey, it's me. Nice to see you. How are you? Amanda says, nope, Aaron. I'm putting up an electric fence. I will light your ass up. Ain't getting my kitty cat. Linda says, we used to put all three boys in a trough. In that trough. And I swear the shampoo was almost boiling. I miss those days. Good country living. Yep. I kind of miss it too. The simplicity of carrying water and hunting for food and sleeping with the box fan in the window, you know, because you don't have air conditioning. But there's something peaceful about that. You can hear the radio stations coming in from that big metal box fan in the middle of the night. Almost make out the song you're listening to. And if you listen real close, you can hear the DJ talking in between the songs. Yep, that's where I'm from. Old ramshackle clapboard house made out of fat lighter. I'm surprised it didn't burn down. Because they had two smokers living there and a fireplace. And we cooked on a wood stove, so. Most people don't believe me when I tell them about my life. Because basically I grew up in the 1800s. We had an outhouse. We hunted. We had a garden across the street. That sort of thing. My daddy was a carpenter. But that's the way we lived until we moved to Florida in 1982, 83, something like that. What a culture shock. The first time I ever saw a stove, I tried to build a fire in the oven. True story. I went out and collected some wood and brought it in and started stuffing. Was getting ready to light it when my mama caught me. No. Watch this. Wow. I remember standing at the bathroom door staring at the toilet. The beautiful thing I've ever seen. Amanda says, hi, it's me. And then my chat jumped. Before you get up for that final snack, I want you to know I'll be right back. Ha! Kill me. Ooh, Timu. Well, my chat jumped a lot. What? Thank you. 9:32. Got it. Amanda says, hi, it's me. Walter says, hi, it's me. Amanda says, no, Debbie, a horse bath is face, feet, and ass, not the entire body, LOL. However you want to call it. Amanda says, hi, Patty. Sorry I missed you. Yeah, hi, Patty. How are you? Sue says, hypokalemia is low potassium levels. Mine is chronic and hereditary, and my body doesn't absorb potassium properly. Sensitivity to heat is one of the side effects. Gotcha. That's terrible. Amy says, a water trough, Linda. Yep, that's right. Like you feed horses in. And Amanda says, a big water tub for horses. Right on. Walter says, Amy, yeah, horse water trough. Aaron says, Amanda, I can jump. I'll leap over your fence easy. I guess he told you. Amy says, Terry is a spy app. Timu is a spy app, is it? Amanda says, I like Timu. Aaron says, I'll leap over your fence. Got it. Amanda says, LOL, Aaron. Well, then be ready to fight too, then. Crazy ass kids. Don't make me separate you two. Aaron says, I'll just run in fast. Grab and go. Mm-hmm. Trip over the other 11 cats. Amanda says, well then. Amy says, it's a bunch of cheap junk from China. I wasn't impressed with my order. Timu, they steal your information. Well, yeah, all of them do that, really. Even Facebook and probably YouTube also does that. That's just the world we live in now, sadly. I grew up in a different world, obviously, but I live in both worlds. I have one foot in each world, and a lot of older people I've had to convince, look, there are safe ways to do business on the internet now. This is just the world we live in. You just got to get used to it. Get yourself a CashApp card or a prepaid credit card if you're too scared to use your credit card, and just put money on it and use it that way. It's the easiest way to do it. But unfortunately, that's just the world we live in now. It just goes that way. Pretty soon, there won't be money at all. Angela says, I think all apps spy, and Google is the worst. I agree, Angela. I can talk about a subject and later look at my phone, and there's an ad for what I was talking about. Yep. That's absolutely true. Your phone is listening to you, and so is that Alexa thing that you like so well because you can talk to it and it'll play your music. It's recording everything you do in your house. It just is. And also TVs that have infrared chips. There's no reason for a TV to have an infrared chip. That's not the band that remotes work on. That's for another purpose. Guess what it is? John H. says, if I did that, it would be a full eclipse. I'm guessing run naked in the rain. Whew. Good gracious, John. Amanda says, yes, Angel, it happens to Jake and I all the time. The Google thing. Yeah, and I work for Google technically, so what can you do? I can't get rid of it because I want to get my money at the end of the month. And whatever. At least there are good things on Google, you know. Amanda says, LOL Nugget. And Linda says, here, where I live, we get these downpours. I call it St. Clair rain. I have a video of the kids in the street playing in it, and it looks like a fire hydrant was opened. Wow. That's a lot of rain. Angela says, Amy, I love their clothes. Not expensive and cute for both me and the grandkids. Temu? Yeah, they do have some good things. You just have to know what to look for. For example, I can buy guitar necks on Temu for $50, and they're good necks. They are licensed necks for the instrument they're made for, and they're good necks. They're well-made Chinese wood. But for $50, you can't complain. And they get here fast. And most of the things that they have a warehouse in America that they can ship to you from America. So you don't have to wait like say if you use AliExpress, you have to wait like 6 months for a shipment to get here from China. It's got to come across the ocean and get processed and all that good stuff. So, but on Temu, they have a warehouse in the United States. So you can get most of your stuff in 2 or 3 days. Don't buy, it's like what's that store up there where you get all the electronics and the tools? Amanda? Harbor Freight. It's like Harbor Freight. You go there to buy a one-use tool. It's cheap. It's made cheap. You know it's cheap, but it costs $1. Go get it. And you use it one time and you throw it in your toolbox and never use it again. If you want quality stuff, you got to go elsewhere to get it. But there are things that you can get on Temu that are useful. And I should get them to start sponsoring the show, by the way. I'll do ads for them and test things out. And I'll tell everybody how good they are with this face. But yeah, there are some things you can get on Temu for that are quality, you know. There's garbage there too, obviously. But like little things, simple things like soldering equipment for a soldering iron. The soldering iron you probably want to buy somewhere else, but you can get solder really cheap from Temu. Sue says, Aaron will save all the damsels in distress. I think Sue might be sweet on Aaron. Sue, are you sweet on Aaron? Amanda says, damn, Linda, I remember them days playing in the rain. Kevin says, be right back. Be right back. I got it, Kev. Aaron says, I got a cat to steal first. Right on, right on. Amy says, read the descriptions carefully before purchasing. Absolutely. If you like it, cool. Yeah, again, you're buying cheap stuff. It's like buying stuff at Walmart. That's all cheap stuff, too. Might be a little higher quality cheap stuff, but it's still cheap stuff. Aaron says, Jake is my hero. He a good dude. Thank you, Aaron. I appreciate being somebody's hero. That means a lot to me. I'm just a dude, though. I'm just trying to get by like everybody else. I'm just a squirrel trying to get a nut, just like you are. I just own a camera. That's all. Amy says, oh, yeah, I do, Amy. I read the reviews and all, right? Amy says, right, Amanda, the dimensions are in centimeters. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can definitely buy stuff there that ain't what you think it is. That's true. That's the same thing on eBay, too, by the way, and Amazon. Like, you could buy a guitar, and when it gets here, it's that tall. Be sure you know what you're buying. But, yeah, that's not the website, though. That's clumsy buying. You really got to be careful and pay attention to what you're doing on the internet, because there are a lot of people out there that'll take advantage of you, and they don't think twice about doing it. But you're absolutely right about that. Be careful what you buy. And like when you go to McDonald's and you see the picture of the hamburger versus what you get, that's not the same thing I ordered, right? It's flat and ugly, but on the picture it's real beautiful and lush. Same thing on Temu. You're going to get something that resembles the thing you bought, sure, but it ain't going to look like the picture. The picture was done to make you want to buy it. In reality, it's just a cheap piece of shit. Angela says, I made lasagna for everyone, but I can't eat red sauce, so I haven't eaten. Sausage and rice pilaf sounds good, but I don't have any of that. Cottage cheese and baby oranges. It will be, though. Well, cottage cheese and baby oranges is good. Rice pilaf does not sound good by any stretch of the imagination. Sausage I could eat. And lasagna I could definitely eat. But why can't you eat red sauce? Is that like a stomach thing? Amanda says, Aaron, and why it's got to be white cat? Racist. Aaron says, LOL, I know, right? Walter says, Bellamy Brothers was country. Barbara Sue. Rupert Holmes was disco. All right. Well, they still sound similar. It's kind of beachy. Amy says, I used to have a cat named C-A-T. C-A-T. Cat. C-A-T. Right. And a dog named D-O-G. I got a dog named D-O-G. That's Tribble's last name. Tribble D-O-G. If you want to get to heaven, got a D-I-E. Pick up your code and your T-I-E. If you want to get to heaven and meet G-O-D, you got to run around crazy like a D-O-G, like a D-O-G. Sue said, we had a dog named Dog when I was little. Was he from Georgia? Because that's how you spell that in Georgia. Debbie says, now Aaron is bragging about having big hands. It's a big hand kind of community here, buddy. Debbie, you are surrounded by large-handed men. Look at that thing. Look at it. Look at it. Amanda says, LOL, yeah, Jake. Another job. Your wife is expensive. Not just kidding. Yeah, my guitar habit is expensive. Amy says, Debbie, jokes always make me laugh. Right on. Debbie's jokes always make me laugh. Debbie's a funny girl. Amy's a funny girl, too, by the way. I don't know if you've met her, but she's quite quick. Aaron says, I'll get her a shirt that says I identify as his cat. I like it. That's actually kind of funny. Amanda says, LOL, Debbie. Well, he did say the glove don't fit. He's got them basketball player hands anyway. Big old long fingers. You pick your head up with one hand. That's a basketball. I don't know what you're thinking. Amy says, well, I've been posting some funny videos on the new page. I've been seeing them. Sue says, where are we going? Wherever you want to go, Sue. It's just a random conversation tonight. It's Wednesday. We're chilling. It's a chill stream. We're chilling. Where would you like to go? You want to go somewhere serious? You want to get specific? You want to get down in the weeds and hammer down on a subject? I'm down. Angela says, I had a betta fish that was named D-O-G because I could have a dog in my apartment. You could not have a dog in your apartment. So you named your fish Dog. That's a good compromise. Cuckoo. Aaron says, my uncle had a dog. And his name was B-I-N-G-O. Sorry. My uncle had a dog named Dammit. So when he called it, he said, come here, Dammit. And he thought it was funny to get people to help him call a dog. Come here, Dammit. Right? Well, until I was 15 years old, I thought my last name was Dammit. Jake, Dammit. Debbie said, yep. He did, Amanda. I wonder how long his thumb is. Somebody knows the trick other than us. Amy says, Sue, a page I tagged you in, you shared your picture. Or the page I tagged you in, you shared your picture. I've seen her picture. Aaron says, LOL, Debbie. Funny as heck. Amanda says, well, Debbie, you know all men's thumbs are at least 6 inches long, and at least that's what they tell us anyway. No, but it has a very wide base, like a chicken leg. That thumb is a chicken leg. You see that? That's a chicken leg. Bonafide. And I can use it. Just kidding. Aaron says, Debbie, I have no thumbs. It wasn't me. It was the one-thumbed man. Aaron says, Jake. Chicken leg Jake. That's what they called me in high school. Debbie says, we had a black and white Maine Coon cat. We named him Sir Charles Barfy. Sir Charles Barfy. Because we could pat the coach and say, Upchuck. Pat the couch and say, Upchuck. Upchuck. Charles Barfy. Right. At least you didn't name him Charles Farley. Charles U. Farley. Charles Eubanks Farley. Chuck U. Farley. I learned that from Pub Up the Volume. Up, Chuck. Got it. Amy says, Amanda, an inch to a man is completely different than an inch to a woman. Aaron says, is that hypo this pots? Is that hypo this pots? Be more specific. I don't know what you're asking. POTS. This POTS. Nope, I don't know what you're asking. Amanda says, LOL, Debbie. And exactly Amy. Sue says, low potassium can cause dehydration too. That's what I'm thinking. You'll have trouble with electrolytes. Another sign you are hard-stooled. Well, I wouldn't call it hard-stooled. I don't do that a lot. Once a week, maybe twice a week if I'm lucky. But as far as dehydration and electrolytes go, I have half of a thyroid, so I have trouble regulating my body temperature. Like I'm either super hot or freezing, one or the other. And also, I don't run very well. I get out of breath very easily. Always have been that way. And it's a energy thing. It's not a breathing thing because I breathe quite well. I'm a singer. And the only time I have trouble breathing is when I talk because of this thing in my throat. But I don't know if that's the case for me or not, but I think I'm just dehydrated typically because I drink a lot of coffee and a lot of Mountain Dew and I don't drink water at all. I think that's the problem. But that is interesting, the low potassium thing. I might try a potassium supplement and see if that doesn't help the muscle cramps. That's pretty interesting. Hang on, my chat jumped again. Oh, I found it. Amanda says, what, Aaron? And Walter says, Linda and I got together and had a wood-burning stove and no natural gas. And if that ain't country, I'll kiss your ass. Yep. Had a 410 rifle and a Bowie knife too. Red man a bag and I like to chew. And we count the cars as the trains go past. And if that ain't country, I'll kiss your ass. That's a good song. You know, I went on the road with that guy. I played with David Allen Coe. That's a true story. POTS is a syndrome. I'm asking if the hypokalemic thing is the longer name for POTS. Okay. I didn't know. I don't know. I'll ask Amanda when she comes back in if she saw that. when she looked it up. Amy says, I remember the days of wood stove, the smell of wood smoke, and the big pot of water on top. That's to keep the air from drying out, because when you use wood heat, the air dries out real bad. I know that because I grew up with wood heat. Amanda says, oh, Aaron, okay, I missed it. Aaron says, if you Google pots, you will see. All right. So you guys have already got into that, and I'm late to the party. Got it. Linda says, yes, Walter, and the first thing you cooked on that stove for me was pork chops. That's a good dinner. A good dinner indeed. I love pork chops. Kevin says, Amy, I love wood-burning stoves. I got one in my barn. I hadn't lit it up in a couple of years. I need to go out there and chop some wood and get her going. Aaron says, LOL, Jake burning stuff. Oh, yeah. I'm all into wood stoves. I got one, and it's a good one. It's one with double doors. You know what I'm talking about? Kind of a square one. It's made for cooking on, so it's got like a range top and 4 holes that you can pull the little inserts out. That's a good wood-burning stove right there. I grew up on the one that looked like a pig, though. Long claw feet, pipe going up out of the wall. You know what I'm talking about. The old pig stove. At least in my young mind, it looked like a pig anyway. Kevin says, nothing better than a wood burner when you come in from the cold. I agree, sir. And it smells wonderful, especially if you use fat lighter to light your fire with. Or lighter knot, whatever you call it. Pine. The root of a pine is super full of sap. That's a real easy thing to light a fire with. Some people call it kindling, but it's fat lighter. Walter says, me and the boys used to have algae fights in the pond, and Linda was kind of grossed out. I would be too. Those things are alive, you know. Blech. Amy says, I don't think I'll get any more animals after Chewy passes away. At least not right away. I don't have the patience anymore for babies. I hear you. Yeah, we love Tribble, but she gets on our nerves because that is a spazzy dog. She just trips out all over the place, full of energy. Linda says, I can't cook on a coal stove. I have. But there is plenty of coal here and not so much wood. You got to get one of them boys to go chop you some wood. All right, boys and girls, please hit that like button if you hadn't done so already. Subscribe, share, support, join, and super chat. But if you really want to help me keep the lights on, go to CashApp, $JakeJohnsonBand. I appreciate that very much. And I'm about to get to the bottom of this chat and go to bed because I got to get up and go to work tomorrow. Amanda says, LOL, well, my Alexa has heard some wild shit then. Better believe that. And just know that Google pays someone to listen to that stuff. So you're being heard. Sue says, Aaron, you have too much fun here. Why is it too much fun? Aaron says, I have fun everywhere. Right on. Linda says, yeah, Walter, cause the crows shit in that pond. Yeah, because the crows shit in that pond. Right, so you're picking up crow shit and throwing it at each other. Aaron says, I'm always like this. Oh, dang, Linda, LOL. And Walter says, the cows swam in that pond. I never saw anything else, or I blocked it out. Linda says, LOL, Walter. Sue says, we get rain like that here. It's called monsoon rains here. We just have hurricanes. I live right on the East Coast. So when it rains here, it's usually because a hurricane is blowing in. Linda says, that's why I would hose you all down before you came inside. Amy says, algae fights. Ooh. But your immune system thanks you, right? Well, that is true. That the reason that Southern people are a lot healthier is because they touch dirt, man. They handle things out in the wild. And when you do that, your immune system builds up immunity to almost everything. It is very highly recommended that you touch things and don't use hand sanitizer. Go out and touch the world. It's good for you. Walter says Temu is kind of like Wish with it wasn't a piece of junk. Well, Temu is better than Wish. I have bought a few things from Wish, and everything that came from there was garbage. I mean, pure garbage. I wouldn't buy anything from Wish. Temu, there are some things on there that you can buy. There's junk there too, but if you're careful and you pay attention to what you're looking at, there are good sellers there. I hadn't seen anything good come out of Wish. Kevin says Harbor Freight is good for making what I call bend a wrench, right? Well, like I said, it's a one-use tool. It's cheap, and you know that when you bought it. That's why you bought it. It's cheap. You're going to break that socket. You're going to bend that wrench, but it'll work for that one thing you need it for. And they have other things like lights, tail lights, and balls, and, you know, there are useful things at Harbor Freight. But also there's a bunch of junk there, too. Aaron says, a one-time use. That's right. Amanda says, definitely, Kevin. And Amy says, Kevin, I still have a porter thingy for bending stuff. Right. Kevin says, there are times you have to customize a wrench to do a job faster. Right. That's absolutely right. I have a few of those wrenches. Especially dealing with brakes and stuff like that, and you don't have the proper tool, you just make the thing. I had to build about half the tools I use on my Harley Davidson because they sell specialized tools, and I'm not going to go pay $100 for a little thing that sticks in a hole and pulls a little thing away. I'll just make it, you know. Walter Davis says, Harbor Freight is good for truck tools that are going to get lost in the mud or grass. Right. A one-use tool. That's exactly right. And like I said, it's cheap, and you know it's cheap. That's why you went to that store. It's not like you're buying a Craftsman, although I think you can get Craftsman there, but I'm not sure. But obviously, you're not going to have a lifetime warranty on a socket you buy at Harbor Freight. It's going to break, but it'll work for the thing you need it for. Kevin says some of their impact tools last a long time, right? Not everything at Harbor Freight is garbage, but they have their things. I have a welding machine that came from Harbor Freight, and I tried to sell it one time, and the guy said I wouldn't buy it. And I said, why not? It's from Harbor Freight, which means it's probably going to break down very quickly, you know. It's not built to last, basically. I have never used it, but it's a brand new welding machine, so maybe it'll last a couple of welds. I don't know. I hadn't needed to weld anything lately. Linda Davis says, yes, Kevin, I have a wish list of tools I need to get and told my kids, and one of them told me not to get them there. Right. Yeah, if you want them to last, don't get them at Harbor Freight. But if you want them just for the thing, like, obviously you could buy screwdrivers and stuff like that there, because you're not going to break a screwdriver, and if you do, you're doing way too much with it. But if you want things that are going to last a lifetime, buy a Craftsman or a Snap-on or something like that. It's a little more expensive, but if you break it, they'll give you a new one for free. Sue says, I got my soldering iron on Amazon. I'm getting ready to buy me a soldering iron here pretty soon, and I'm probably going to get mine from Temu or Amazon or Walmart. Whichever one has the better one. Amy says, try pawn shops too, Linda. Right on. Pawn shops are a good place to pick up tools. We got a store here called You Trade It. I don't know if you got one where you're at, but basically it's a used store. They sell all kinds of stuff, and it's all used stuff. But that's a great place to pick up tools and guitars. So I use that for that. Aaron says, what do you solder, Sue? Angela says, yep, GERD It is making my esophagus thicken. Right on. GERD. GERD is a short name for a word that's longer than this screen that you're looking at. It's a very big word. Walter Davis says, if a tool doesn't say USA, it's not going to last. I get my good tools from the flea market, right? That's also a good place to pick up tools. Sometimes you can buy a whole toolbox full of tools, and 2 or 3 things in the toolbox is worth what you paid for it. Amanda says, Tribble is a pain in the ass dog, and Jake makes her spoiled rotten to the core. I just love on her, that's all. That's all she wants is a little attention. Amy says, my husband used a 9/16 wrench to fix a broken arm on a Chrysler 500. It held the tie rod in place long enough to get to the AutoZone. Right on. I know exactly what you're talking about. Walter Davis says, do you know how many farm kids learn to spell from that song? I'm one of them. Thank you, Waylon. Yeah, Waylon was a good dude. Good musician. Aaron says, they may stamp USA on it, but most of the tools are made elsewhere and then sent back. Walter says, I buy old tools. Aaron says, I remember Craftsman used to be good. Yes, everything used to be good because we used to make things in America. Thanks to Democrats, though, they've shipped all of the manufacturing out of the country. So we just about don't make anything anymore. There are a few things. There's a couple of steel mills still here and stuff like that. But for the most part, everything is made overseas now. And it's all to the lowest bidder. It's all garbage. People don't take pride in made in America stuff anymore. That's why all of my guitars have been repurposed by me. All of them. I build all my guitars. Even if they're already made, I strip them down to nothing and build them back up to the way I want them, to my specs, and then they're made in America. So all my guitars are made in the USA, despite what they say on the headstock, because I did the work. The only thing I didn't do was cut the wood out. Everything else I did. Linda Davis says, my son took our tank off and went to trade it in to get a new propane tank and left the nozzle on it and had to find tools to get the new one and fix it. Yes, you got to take the nozzle off. That regulator is important. Angela says, I have a shirt that says I identify as non-binary. That's fantastic. I love it. Non-binary. That's a good shirt. Aaron says, smart man, Walter. Aaron says, I had to read that twice. Non-binary. Right on. Amy says, tie rod in, rocker arm, something broke, causing the wheel not to go round. That's the tie rod end. And use a 9/16 wrench and pin it in place. I know what he did. Aaron says, how's that new ride? How are you liking the new car? Walter says, if a wrench says China or India, it's a single-use tool. I agree, 100%. And I have popped many sockets, too. With this forearm, it's amazing I have a socket set at all. Because every time I tighten down on one, I pop it. I've had to learn how not to tighten it so tight. I got one speed, and that's full on. You know what I mean? It's actually a problem. Amy says, Aaron, it's good. Aaron says, I'm glad you deserve it. Amy says, the good old days when you didn't need a computer to fix a car. Listen, I might be old school here, but I like old things. I don't like new things at all. The older, the better. If it's made out of steel or cast iron or something that lasts, I like it. I like old wood. I like old metal. I like old electronics. I like old things. All my furniture is old. Everything I have is old. I like it. I like old lawnmowers. I don't like new stuff. New stuff is just new problems, in my opinion. I don't want to break anything in. I want it already broke in. I like old guitars. The older, the better. Because back in the day, back when America was great again, we made things to last. If you bought a car, you could expect it to last 10 years or more, like they should. But, alas, the good times are really over for good. I wish a Ford and a Chevy still last 10 years like a Dodge. Aaron says, yes, but they didn't have YouTube either, Amy. Right, they didn't have YouTube. Angela says, yes, Amy. Hold on, my chat jumped. Where'd it go? Good gracious. What's the number? 10:04. That's too far. 10:06. Well, that's completely different than 10:04. Angela says, yes, Amy. And you could get any part you wanted by pulling it off of a car in the junkyard. Fewer junkyards now. True. Amy says, at least we're not talking about pickles. That's a good thing. Pickles. Damn pickles. Linda says, right, Amy, for some reason, every time I hit a bump, in my truck, all the other shit, lights come on my dashboard, and it looks like a Christmas tree. Amanda says, oh, Amy, I saw a video of a pickle sandwich. It looked delicious. Does not look delicious. Angela says, I had a Haynes for every car I owned. I had to fix my own car. If I can read it, I can do it. You had a manual for every car you owned. Right. Understood. Those blow-up books, they come in handy. I like the ones that have the blow-up so you can see how everything goes together. Sue says, hi. I had to go for a bit. Got a phone call. Hi at you, Sue. Nice to see you back. Amy says, I sent you the video, Amanda. Everything is better with cheese and bacon. I agree. Walter says, Jake, where did David Allen Coe grow up? Akron, Ohio. I heard Texas and Massachusetts. He is not a Texas boy. I know there's a song that says that, but he's not from Texas. He was trying to hook up with Waylon and Willie, who was in Texas doing the big thing, and Merle Haggard and all down there. And so he went down there and then started claiming to be from Texas because everything's bigger in Texas. He's an Ohio boy, I promise. He grew up in a penitentiary in Akron, Ohio. He's been in penitentiary most of his life as a child on up into adulthood. So whatever that big penitentiary is in Akron, Ohio, that's where he's from. Aaron says, remember those and Chilton manuals. Right on. Sue says, my birthday is next month. I'm turning 40. Well, happy birthday next month, Sue. If you're around, I'll sing you happy birthday. How do you feel about turning 40? That's a big number. I remember when I turned 40, I couldn't think of anything else. I'm 40. Oh, my God. Now I'm 50, and I can't believe it. I wish I was 40. Angela says, happy to see the frequent commercials, Jake. Thank you, ma'am. I'm trying to survive here. I apologize if they get on your nerves. But it does help out a little. Rich S says, light 'em up. Amy says, I had Haynes manuals too, Angel. Aaron says, it was me, Sue. You didn't answer, LOL. Sue says, what did you ask me, Aaron? I must have missed it when my phone rang. Amy says, Porter Press. That's the name of the tool. I just remembered. A bending tool. I got you. Amanda says, Walter, DAC is from Akron, Ohio. Yep. Aaron says, I was making a joke saying the phone call was me. Angela says, Amy, there is no way I could ever have afforded to take my car to a mechanic. I've changed so many parts on a car. I went to a junkyard to get most of my parts. Me too. That's how I do it too. In a junkyard or just buy something that I know there's cheap parts for, like a General Motors. I drive a Ford right now, but it was a good buy. I couldn't pass it up. Sue says, sometimes jokes go right over my head. That's all right, Sue. We got you, honey. Aaron says, it probably wasn't funny. I tried. Walter says, Amanda, I knew he was in Ohio State Prison. Right, well, he was born there, too. I don't know where he was born at. Probably Peoria or something like that. Dennis Bigfoot says, hey, Jake and Amanda. What's up, Dennis? Nice to see you, my friend. How you doing this fine, hot evening? Amy says, hi, Dennis. And Amanda says, Cash App, $ Jake Johnson Band, or PayPal/me, Jake Johnson Band. PayPal.me/Jake Johnson Band. Thank you, Amanda. I appreciate that. Sue says, I want to go get some pizza. Pizza. That sounds good, Sue. Amanda says, hi, Dennis. I saw you were live earlier. How's your live stream going, Dennis? Rich S says, don't any of you folks have personal chefs? I do. I have a personal chef. Can get anything I want made. Get cookies every week. Amanda says, right, Sue. Jake said it earlier, and now that's all I'm thinking about is pizza. Aaron says, be right back. My daughter called. Tell your daughter we said hello, Aaron. Aaron says, but I'm still reading. Dennis says, yep, it's public now. I was in a hurry. I had to drive. Right on. Amanda says, oh, okay. John says, you can even get a refund off Temu. I did. Right on. That's a good thing, too. So if you do get something that's garbage, you can send it back and get your money back. The thing I like about Temu, though, is they have this wheel thingy that you can rack up, like, rewards and end up getting a lot of stuff for a very little amount of money. I do like that. I don't know how they make a living doing that, but it's a good option. Linda says, no, Rich, I'm the personal chef in this house. I'm looking forward to the nursing home so I can have one of my own and a maid. Damn it, Linda. I wouldn't let you go to a nursing home, though. I'd just take care of you. That's what I did for my mama. And my dad, too, but he didn't think it was funny, so he handled his business out in the barn one night, but I was trying. And Dennis Bigfoot says, I'm going to live again tomorrow. I'm going live again tomorrow evening, to stream the weekly fireworks at the beach. Nice. I had fireworks on my show on the 4th of July. Did you see it? Were you here? Kevin says, Preta Power. I don't know what that is. PRTA Power. I don't know what that is. Angela says, Rich, LOL. I am everyone's personal chef in my house. What? Porta Power. Well, we're all disabled. Well, I'm sure they're all grateful they got you, Angela. Amy says, that's it, Kevin. A little to the left. Deeper. That's it, Kevin. Porta Power. Amanda says, yes, Nugget. And if it's not delivered on time, they will give you $5. It's not much, but it's something. Right on. That's a good thing. Rich S says, a nursing home? Why wouldn't you have a PCA and a private nurse take care of you? That takes money, Rich. Sue says, I have a bowel movement about 1 to 3 times a day. Wow. You're killing it. I wouldn't know how to act if I had that kind of movement. I'm once a week if I'm lucky. And I eat every day, so I ain't figured that one out yet. But it's always been that way my whole life. Rich says, Angela, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear about your strife. Walter Davis says, the Harbor Freight welders are from the factory that makes all the name brand welders, so stuff like that is actually okay. Well, I mean, the one I've got's the flux fed one. It's got a little wire roller on top, and it feeds through the handle through the welder. And it's supposed to be a good one. I've never used it. I've got a brand new roll of flux wire out there. I need to go out there and weld some stuff. But it's a spot welder. It's not the hottest thing you can get, but it'll do little jobs, little things. I think it's intended for making like jewelry or little whatnots or whatever. Little small welding. Nothing you would, you wouldn't want to risk your life on that weld, but whatever, it works. It looks good to me. I can't see why it's a cheap object, but the guy that I was trying to sell it to did not want it, so I kept it. Amanda says, wow, Sue, that's crappy. 3 times a day crappy. Linda says, Rich, I'm in the wrong tax bracket for that. Right on. John says, I waited for a new kettle over a month now from Amazon. You might not be getting it. You might want to check in with Amazon and see if it's coming. Walter says, hey, Dennis. Rich says, how are these so many disabled in the same household? Was there a tragic accident? Sometimes people just get old, Rich. Everybody ain't rich and happy. Dennis Bigfoot says, hey, Walter. Everybody in my house is disabled too. Only some of us don't act like it. Amanda says, contact Amazon Nugget. They will find it or fix it. Maybe you'll get a free kettle out of it. That's a pretty good idea. Angela says, it's not strife at all. It's an honor to serve my roommates. They are good people. I'm safe, happy, and appreciated. I bet you are. And that's a beautiful way to think of it. It's always good to serve your fellow man. That's one thing I teach on this channel is to be nice and to serve those around you, because that will pay dividends into your life. I promise you it will. If you think I'm wrong, just try it for a while. Just take a month and be nice to everyone. And at the end of the month, if you don't see a difference in your life, I'll buy you a coffee. I promise you it'll change your world. Linda says, Rich, I am the only one disabled in my house, ? Johnny says, it's coming tomorrow, Amanda. Oh, well, thank God it'll be there tomorrow. You've waited over a month, though. Are you sure it's coming tomorrow? Amanda says, well, Nugget, bitch at Amazon. They might give you a partial refund or something. If it took a long time, right? At least complain about it. Lodge a complaint, send an email. Rich says, I meant Angela. So many disabled in her family. I'm not entirely sure it's her family. I think it's friends and people that she's living with. Might be her family. I don't know. Amanda says, LOL, Amy. And Linda says, oh, okay, Rich. Sue says, it's not POTS because my sodium levels are fine. Okay. So POTS is a little different than hyperkalemia. Amy says, that's what Jake said, John. Right on. John says, Amanda, done it so many times before. Right on. Walter says, I got a thunderstorm coming in here. It was supposed to rain here today. We had rain warnings yesterday. Supposed to rain all day. Man, if it wasn't hot and sunny all day, no rain in sight. So maybe it'll rain tonight and cool off tomorrow. That would be lovely. John says, I'm going to say good night, people. You're all wonderful people. Much love. Heart, heart. John, God bless you, sir. Enjoy your kettle tomorrow. We love you. I'm so glad to hear that you're doing better and you're kicking cancer's ass. We'll see you Friday night. Be good to yourself and each other. And other people. Amanda says, LOL, I order on live a lot. So I don't play that shit with any company. I order online a lot. And I'm an Amazon Prime member, so I don't play with them. And she gets a lot of stuff, too. A lot of refunds. Rich S says, cheers, John. Amanda says, good night, Nugget. And Linda says, good night, Nugget, heart. Angela says, Rich, no. Hang on. My chat jumped. Rich, no. LOL, disabled at different times for different reasons. I had a brain aneurysm in 2020, and now I have seizures and migraines. I also have reoccurring bladder cancer. One had a stroke, and one is in a wheelchair. Yep. Sometimes people just get old and fall apart, Rich. That's what is happening to me right now. I'm getting old and falling apart. Amanda says, LOL, Jake, tell me to leave his tools alone. Oh, Jake tells me to leave his tools alone. Well, the other day, he grabbed my tools and I told him to make sure to put them back and not mess them up. It was funny and it felt good to use his trick on him. Whatever makes you happy. Your tools are my tools. Linda Davis says, LOL, Amanda. And Walter says, my new truck is 25 years old. Won't pass inspection, but it runs good. That's all that matters. Amen to that. The older, the better. I think automobiles stopped being good about 1989. And there's a few 90s models that are okay. But anything after that is just pretty much downhill. Amanda says, well, you have a perfectly good running 26-year-old Ford. Yes, I do. Dennis says, my truck is a 1999. It runs, but still runs good. It's rough, but it still runs good, and I can work on it. Same here. Mine's not rough. Mine's in good condition. I felt bad buying this car. I really did. It was a kid. I don't know where he got it. I don't know how he got it. I don't care. But this thing was worth $3,000 all day long or better. You probably could have sold it for $4,500. I paid $1,100 for it. Cash. That's good. That's a steal. Had 4 new tires on it. Really good interior. Clean as a whistle. The oil was still brown. I mean, you could still see through it. It was like never been changed, what it looked like. Probably was just freshly changed, but there's no oil anywhere on the motor. It don't leak. And it's a good running car. There's one dent in the whole thing. I think I stole that truck from that little boy. I really do. But I needed one, and it was there. So, and it's a Ford, and I can work on it. Amanda says, I hear you, Dennis. Ours looks and runs great. The AC still works, too. It needs a shot of Freon, though, for sure. Walter Davis says, I got a great running 45-year-old truck. As soon as I get a new transmission, it's back everyday service. Right on. Sue says, I broke a screwdriver because I was using it as a hammer. Well, now, yeah, you're not supposed to do that. Use a hammer for a hammer. Amanda says, LOL, Sue. Linda says, by the way, Walter, did they finally get the correct transmission for it? And Amanda says, DAC was born in Akron, Ohio. Yes, he was. Angela says, Sue, I still use a butter knife as a flat head screwdriver. Now that you can do. My toolbox has a butter knife in it for that very reason. And other things. There are a lot of things you can use a butter knife for. Dennis says, it was a short live stream. It'll be longer tomorrow night. Well, congratulations. I hope you had lots of viewers. Aaron says, such a good stream tonight. Thank you, Aaron. I've enjoyed it. It's been a good all over the place kind of conversation, and I love those. Sue says, do you know what a mountain dulcimer is, Jake? Yes, ma'am, I do. Someone gave me one, and my neighbor fixed it up for me, so it works. Fantastic. Have you learned to play it yet? It is a very interesting instrument, somewhere between a dobro and one of those Chinese things that you see. Bang, 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 ding, ding, ding. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know what those are called. It's kind of a cross between those, and that's pretty cool that you have one. And those are might be worth something. It depends on who made it and what the quality of it is, but it's a pretty interesting instrument. You should learn to play one for sure. Rich S says, I know all about brain aneurysms, Angela. I'm wearing a BAF bracelet as we speak. A family member had a subarachnoid hemorrhage and survived just as you did. A subarachnoid? They had underwater spiders? What are you saying? I know. I'm just teasing. Aaron says, I can't hear Jake because I'm on the phone. I'll go back and watch. Linda Davis says, I had a tattoo put on my wrist so I don't have to carry around the card that says I have stents and coils in my brain. Interesting. When you go through a metal detector, do you feel heat in your head? Walter Davis says, Linda, they said it will be in tomorrow. Don't they always say that? Angela says, I definitely would not be able to live in the nice big house I live in on just my disability. I don't even bring in what the rent is a month. Over half our income combined is for the rent alone. Wow. Well, I'm grateful that you have a nice, big, lovely house to live in. But that's a lot of rent. Amanda says, kiss my ass. I don't act like it either, butthead. Watch how you talk to me, young lady, or I'll pull that tongue out your mouth and tie it around your forehead. Amanda says, ugh, oh no, I'm out of peppermints. I'll go get you some. Amanda says, tragic. Rich says, coils weren't an option. 3 stents was the only choice. Scary that the catheters kept getting blocked and stopped draining. Yeah, that's pretty scary. I wouldn't want nobody messing with my brain. That's terrifying. To me, that's like nightmare fuel. Like when I was a kid, you'd watch those movies of people that get irradiated or get lobotomized and stuff like that, like One Who Flew Over a Cuckoo's Nest. That was nightmare fuel to me as a child. I can't imagine somebody touching my brain. I don't want that at all. Linda says, 2 of mine are stented and 1 has coils, and I have 2 stents in my heart. Wow. You guys need to be very careful in this heat. Angela says, no, not my family, just friends, and we are 59, 60, and 63. And then my chat jumped. 2 women, 1 man, and we each have our own room. Rich says, good grief. Did Lucy take your ball away from you? Amy says, Three's Company. Come and knock on my door. I have a question for you. Linda Davis says, but I'm still kicking and taking care of my family. Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. Rich says, whatever you got to do to survive. At first I was afraid. I was petrified. Amy says, 2 women and 1 man sharing a place. 3's a company. Right on. Or 2 women, 1 cup. Don't look that up. No, really. Don't look that up. You will not be able to unsee that. Angela says, yes, Amy, 3's company for sure. You are so funny. Rich S says, I'm about to sell my primary house and find a small place by the water to keep my stuff in. I want my father to come live with me, but the old guy is stubborn and digging in. I understand how that is. He don't want to be taken care of by the people he's taken care of his whole life, I guess. Amy says, Rich, the older one gets, the more stubborn they are. I must be like 300 years old. Because I'm stubborn as all get out. Rich says, Sue says, ever notice how similar cars look now? Yeah, they all look like pregnant skateboards. Now they all look like gay pregnant skateboards. That's just the way of the world. Why they did it that way is beyond me. Because you have a thing that works. Why don't you keep doing that? What happened in the muscle car era? Somebody hired somebody that was lighting the loafers is the only thing I could figure, because they went from making Mustang Mach 1s and Dodge Chargers to Chevy Citations and Ford Fiatas, or whatever the hell you call those things. And it's just gotten worse. They never came back. The few times they've tried, the Dodge Challenger, the Dodge has been the only company that did it that I can see. The Spider, the Alfa Romeo looking thing. And then the, the Stealth, Dodge Stealth. They tried to make cool cars again, and it just never went anywhere. Why? Probably because gas got so expensive. But yeah, all the cars just kind of look like the same thing now. When I was a kid, I could tell what car was coming at night by the way the headlights looked. And I was right every time. There wasn't but like 7 types of cars. Now there's thousands of them, and you can't keep up with them all. It's just one of the things that changed over the life that I've lived. Rich says, I think Jake is talking about a Chinese moon guitar. I don't know what they're called. They're kind of long, and their strings are way up high off the fretboard, and you play it with a thing that looks like a spade. It's got a handle and a fan, and you pluck it like this, and you finger it over here, but it's real high off the fretboard. It's like the fretboard's like a pole, and you just kind of press down and and it's kind of a clanky sound. It's kind of a cross between that and a dobro, which is a guitar that you play with a slide and has a flat neck. And so the dulcimer is kind of shaped like a pea pod or something. It's got kind of a curvy look to it, and a long fretboard that goes all the way from one end to the other, and then a big tall bridge in the middle, and you plug it and play it with a slide, if I remember correctly. And you might play it with a bow. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But the Chinese thing, I've seen people play them, but I don't know what they're called. And it might be a Japanese thing, not a Chinese thing. I'm racist. I can't help it. Angela says, Rich, I have a stent and 5 coils. It was a strawberry aneurysm right at the split of my left PICA in the back of my brain. Wow. Amy says, I need a BAF bracelet. Broke his foot. Me too, Amy. Me too. Angela says, LOL, Amy. Me too. I think we're all kind of in that boat. That's why I have a Super Chat function and a Cash App. But it doesn't work all the time. Sometimes. BAF is Brain Aneurysm Foundation, says Rich S. Not for Amy. Angela says, nope, I feel no heat, but I can't have an MRI, just an MRA. Yeah, if you have an MRI, that thing will pull out of your head. I can't have an MRI because I have tattoos that were done in prison. They're like lead-based or something. There's metals in it. It'll burn the tattoos right out of my arm. Amy says, BAF, broke as fuck. Rich S says, ha. I would have sent you one, LOL. Amanda says, you won't rip my tongue out. You like it too much. You got me there. You win. Kevin says, I'm going to call it a night. Good night, everybody. Kevin, God bless you, sir. Thank you for being here. We love you, sir. We'll see you Friday night. Rich S says, MRA is the 3 Tesla magnet one, right? I don't know. Amanda says, good night, Kevin. Amy says, good night, Kevin. And Linda says, yeah, Angela, I had one, and it casts bright streaks, and they can't get a good image. That's not good. Linda says, good night, Kevin. And Sue says, I'm working on learning how to play it. It's not that hard. Very bluegrass sounding. Yep. Mine is cracked and looks like it was a kit someone made, like from the 50s or the 70s. Yeah, I think that's how they were made. I think you made one, out of whatever. You might could have bought it in a magazine or something. I do luthier work. If you would like for me to fix it for you, you can send it to me and I'll fix it for you. Or, just glue it up and stay close to it. Amanda says, here's the Facebook page, facebook.com/UntetheredLive for those of you who want to check it out. Dennis says, good night, Kevin. And Amanda says, that's gross, Jake. 2 women, 1 cup. Yeah, don't look that up. Really, you can't unsee that. Amanda says, you stubborn. That's an understatement. I'm not stubborn. I'm right. There's a difference. Angela says, I have no idea, Rich. I just know I have to have one in a week or so, with and without contrast. That contrast is bad. I did have a CAT scan one time, and they had to inject me with that stuff, and I felt weird for like 24 hours. Felt like I was going to start climbing walls and shooting webs out of my fingers. I don't know what it was. Rich says, in every car color is a shade between white and black. Like, what the hell, right? Yeah, that's true. Linda Davis says, Jake, when is your extra stream going to be? I guess I'm going to do it Thursday. Probably at the same time. And it'll probably be 30 minutes or an hour long. I probably won't be on here long because I'm exhausted by Thursday. So, I'm trying to, I got invited to be part of a program in the YouTube partner program. And so I'm doing an extra show every week so that I can raise my numbers up, and it's going to help with the algorithm or something. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm supposed to get some YouTube merch because of doing it. But basically the reason I'm doing it is the extra numbers, and hopefully that'll help boost us up in the algorithm and get people seeing the show out, because they're not propagating it like they're supposed to. In fact, unless I do a vertical stream, we don't get any new people coming in on these live streams. The only time I get new people coming in is when I do verticals, which means they're not pushing it out. People aren't seeing it. So I'm trying to do whatever I can to raise that up so I can make a little money. There's only so much you can do for free. But I'm trying. But I'm going to come on Thursday for a little while and do something. I don't know what yet, but just to have an extra show every week for this month and see what happens at the end of the month. If it raises my numbers, I might keep doing it. I don't know. And Amanda says, probably tomorrow night. Yeah, Thursday. Amy says, sitar. It might be what it's called. Yep. No. A sitar is an Indian thing that goes, ring, ding, ring, ding, ding, ding. That's a multi-stringed instrument that vibrates. That's an Indian instrument. Linda says, okay, thanks, Amanda. And Amanda says, you're welcome, hon. Amy says, thank you for cheering me up, everyone. I have my moments. Well, Amy, you cheer us up on a regular basis, so it's our pleasure. And I hope we did cheer you up. But we love you. Don't forget that. Sue says, good night, all. Good night, Sue. Thank you for being here. Come back and see us Friday night or tomorrow night. I'll be here for a little while tomorrow night. Have a good night and sweet dreams. And Amanda says, good night, Sue. Go run around, Sue. Amy says, I'm out of here too. Good night, all. Good night, Amy. We love you. Sweet dreams. Linda says, good night, all. I love you all. Good night, Linda. We love you. Have a good night. Please rest well and take it easy in the heat. And we'll see you. Amanda says, good night, Amy. And good night, Amy, says Linda. And Amanda says, good night, all. See you tomorrow night. Much love, y'all. If not tomorrow night, then Friday night. Definitely. Yeah, I'm going to try to do it tomorrow after work. But we'll see. Angela says, Amy, things will get better, I promise. God's got you. Don't ever forget that. True. Listen to Angela. She knows. And good night, my family. Heart. Good night, Angela. And that's the bottom of the chat. I'm going to go to bed, too. God bless you all. Have a great night. Be nice to somebody tomorrow. I promise you it'll change your life. See you on the next one. Dennis, good night, sir. Have a great one. Peace out, everybody. Thanks for watching.